TV23 KDGL. Covering the High Plains with news, weather, and information. From TV23 Studios in Sublette, this is High Plains Today.
Hi, everybody. Good Monday to you. It is March 21st, 2016. Welcome to High Plains Today on TV23. On today's show, I'll be joined by Kirk Hutchinson. He is the Public Affairs Manager for the Kansas Department of Transportation, the Southwest District. We're going to be talking about some upcoming projects that they've got going, specifically on US 83 north of Sublette. Now, let's take a look at some happenings. On Friday at about 11 p.m., officers were called to La Charipa, 188 West Pancake and Liberal, for a reported stabbing. Now, responding officers located a 25-year-old male with multiple stab wounds. Witnesses said that the victim and two other men were engaged in a fight when the stabbing occurred. The two suspects fled prior to police's arrival. The two men, ages 33 and 26, were later apprehended without incident at their respective residences. Now, the victim was transported to Southwest Medical Center and later transported to Wichita for additional treatment. The two males were booked on charges of attempted murder in the second degree and conspiracy. And the CEO of the Hamilton County Hospital has resigned amidst financial uncertainty at the Rural Critical Access Hospital in Syracuse. Robert Nommensen submitted his resignation to the hospital's Board of Trustees on March 8th. The hospital faces a $1.7 million shortfall for 2016. In an effort to reduce expenses, the hospital board temporarily shut down the facility's Life Living Center, a long-term care unit, on February 29th. About 13 residents are still living in the center. Now, during the meeting on March 8th, the board voted to modify Nommensen's contract, reducing the required notice from 90 days to 30 days, and removed the no complete clause that would have prevented him from working for another hospital within 100 miles of the Hamilton County Hospital. Nommensen has accepted a position as Chief Operating Officer at the Stanton County Hospital in Johnson. And Masons from 220 lodges in Kansas have donated a total of $2.5 million to 3 Kansas State University programs. The Kansas Masonic Foundation's gifts will support the Kansas Pride Program, the Center for the Advancement of Entrepreneurship, and the Office of Military Veterans Affairs. Now, Kansas Pride encourages volunteers to work with local governments to improve their communities. The Center for the Advancement of Entrepreneurship works to improve entrepreneurial opportunities at Kansas State and throughout Kansas. And the Office of Military and Veterans Affairs focuses on military-related institutional policies, education, research, and outreach. Good for you, Masons. And earthquake activity picked up slightly in Harper County over the past week and in neighboring Alfalfa County, Oklahoma. The region southeast of Waynoka in Major County, however, continued to remain the most active, recording 46 earthquakes over the 7 days. 36 of those were below a magnitude of 2.0. Now, the Kansas quakes, though all in Harper County, were fairly widely spaced, and all were magnitude 2.5 or less. The largest earthquake for the week was a magnitude 3.4. The 5 quakes in Alfalfa County were also tightly clustered about 5 miles south of Byron, Oklahoma. All of these quakes were within a range of a magnitude of 2.9 to 3.3. And the 7 justices of the Kansas Supreme Court asked a federal judge this week to dismiss a lawsuit against them by former Kansas Attorney General Phil Kline, calling one of his arguments puzzling as he seeks reinstatement of his law license. Now, the court indefinitely suspended Kline's license in a unanimous ruling on October 18th of 2013 after finding clear and convincing evidence Kline had acted unprofessionally as he pursued criminal charges against abortion providers. And finally, the House Education Committee passed on Friday a bill voiding statewide academic standards for public schools known as Common Core and requiring the Kansas State Board of Education to present a new set to the legislature before implementation in 2017. Now, the vote followed 4 years of debate in the Capitol about standards for English and math implemented back in 2010 by the state school board. The guidelines, renewed on a 7-year cycle, identify what the state board expects children to learn in each grade. Representative Amanda Grossroad of Lenexa said the intention of pushing ahead with a revised version of House Bill 2292 was to offer a simplified approach for bringing to a close Kansas' use of Common Core standards to influence instruction in fundamental subjects. Sure that isn't over yet. And that's a look at some happenings. Hey, we'll be back with a weather forecast that it doesn't have a lot of precipitation in it right away, but hopefully.
You're watching High Plains Today on TV23 with host Chris Jewell. TV23's internet service and 4G live streaming provided by United Wireless. Coverage you deserve. Service you expect. United Wireless.
You want to feel connected, at one with your world. Informed, included, and inspired. So no matter where you are, when important things happen, we're here at all hours, in the moment, on every screen in your life. Your local TV and radio broadcasters. We investigate and inform, give back to the community, build the local economy, even save lives. America's #1 source for news, weather, and information. And unlike any other news source, we're here, 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 and here. We are broadcasters, always here for you, wherever here may be. Text TV to 52886. Tell Washington local stations matter.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes up at that, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 home runs. Number 50,000 is back.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Something I feel when I'm right here. Something that tells me that I'm This is the place. Everybody here knows it. This is the place. Oh, it's home to me and you. Yeah, this is the place.
Now, the local weather forecast for the High Plains.
Lots of sunshine, a few high clouds hanging out up to the north as we look off to the northeast on the TV23 tower cam. Other than that, it's not a bad day out there. Looking at the readings here at the station, we have 59 degrees, 32% relative humidity. Winds are out of the southwest at 11. Barometric pressure is falling. As we look at our temperatures around the viewing area, everybody in the upper 50s and into the 60s already. Look at that, Guyman already at 66 degrees today. Current dew points are fairly low, everybody in the 20s and 30s, really dry in Lamar. Now remember, we're under a fire watch or a red flag watch, not a warning out here. So if you're a smoker, keep those butts in the vehicles with you today. Wouldn't take much to get one started. Looking at the winds, everybody pretty much out of the southwest or west. You can see Perryton and Guyman already up into the 20s, even over at Pratt, 29 degrees. Everybody else in the teens. Looking at our highs and lows, as recorded at the Garden City Regional Airport, we did get to 54 degrees yesterday, 87 back in 1975. Our overnight low was 10 last night. That is a record. That beats the record of 11 back in 1983, but hey, it's still a record. And still no precipitation in the bucket. As we look at our forecast for today, we're going to have a high of 80 degrees. Winds are going to be out of the south-southwest at 15. Tonight's going to be a lot warmer, 44 for the overnight low. Winds will be out of the south at 11. Then tomorrow we're going to heat up some more, 86 degrees. Winds will be out of the west-southwest at 18, but they're going to be picking up close to gusting to 30 miles an hour. So again, be very, very careful with those fire watches. 45 for the low tomorrow night. Winds will still be out of the southeast at 17. As we look at the forecast, we do have a slight, I'm going to say slight, 20% chance of precipitation on Wednesday night. And then going into Thursday, we do have another chance rolling around on Saturday at 20%. And then highs are going to drop off into the 50s and 60s. Remember, it still is March. Looking at our storm spotter trainings tonight, they'll be at the Senior Center in Montezuma. Tomorrow at the Community Center in Greensburg. On Wednesday at the King Center in Jetmore. Thursday, the Civic Center in Elkhart. Then again, rolling into next week, they'll be at the fire station in La Crosse, the courthouse in Ness City, and the 4-H building in Kinsley. That's a look at the weather. Be back with the markets and Kirk Hutchinson after this.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Something I feel when I'm right here. Something that tells me that I'm home. This is the place. Everybody here knows it. This is the place. Oh, it's home to me and you. Yeah, this is the place.
Hi, I'm Chris Jewell, host of High Plains Today, a 30-minute news and information program that airs at noon weekdays right here on TV23. Hey, do you think you have an idea for something that would make a great segment? Somebody that would make a great interview? What about a community event that needs highlighting? Let us know here at the station. Email us news@kdgltv.com.
This is the place.
Score big this month with huge savings on new phones from United Wireless. Save $60 or more on our most popular smartphones with pricing starting at $0 down. Take advantage of our simple, unlimited everything smartphone plans that include talk, text, and data starting at only $50 per month. We're going mad in March with deep discounts, so you don't want to miss this sale. Make it your goal to stop in at one of our stores or our 13 convenient agent locations and switch to United Wireless today. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Welcome back. I'm now joined by Kirk Hutchinson. He is the manager of public relations for the Kansas Department of Transportation, the Southwest District, which his office is in Garden City. So, and you are
the guy people yell at.
And you were saying before we came back from commercial, people call you up and the first thing they say is, who thought this, or
it's
whose
what
idea?
idiot? What idiot thought this was a good idea is a common question. So I got one the other day when we had that little bit of snow that came through the Garden City area in north. We had that little bit of snow.
Yeah.
And we had some folks out because the pavement had wet. It had rained, and so the pavement could be slick in some places. So up around Jetmore and some areas north of that, our guys were out spreading some salt sand to deal with that. And I had somebody call me, and that was almost the question: what idiot thought it was a good idea to be out here spreading this on the road when there's no snow on the road? Well, it's still slick, and the temperatures were in the low 30s, and so they were concerned about that. But he was upset because some of the sand had hit his windshield, and he wanted us to know that was wrong.
But if that guy hits black ice
and wipes out, he's going to be a lot more unhappy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would call you and say, what idiot thought it wasn't a good idea to be out here not sanding?
Well, and it gave me a chance to address a common misconception for when our folks are out putting down salt, sand, or whatever out on the road. There's a misconception among some people that they are required to turn off the spreader when they meet oncoming traffic. That's not true. They're not required to do that, and you wouldn't want them to do that.
Well, no, because that's going to leave slick spots.
Because that leaves slick spots. Here's a dry spot, here's ice, here's dry, here's ice, here's dry, here's ice. So you don't want to do that either.
What do they want you to do? Stop where you're at and people line up behind you and then...
No, just don't have it spread while they maintain a lower speed when they're spreading because you don't want that stuff bouncing all over the place.
Right.
And you try to make sure your spreader's aimed so it lands in this lane and everything, but you can't control wind and everything else. And
we don't have wind out here.
And our folks, their mission, their maintenance folks, their mission is keep the road as clear as you can keep the road. So we're going to spread salt sand, or we're going to put down salt brine. We're going to do whatever we have to clear that road so that it's safe to drive on.
Let me ask you this, though, while we're talking about that. Before we get into highway projects, the salt brine that you guys put down ahead of time.
Yes.
Now, has that cut down a lot on having to spread sand and salt?
It helps. It depends on the temperature. There are a lot of conditions that change whether that's a good idea or a bad idea. This last week when we had that rain come through, salt brine wouldn't have done you any good because it washes off.
Right.
If it's a very windy, you don't necessarily want to do that because what will happen is it'll melt some of that ice, but the wind's going to refreeze it for you. So then you create more ice.
You guys got to kind of pay attention when you're doing that,
our
don't you?
folks have to pay close attention when they're out there doing that.
Okay. It's not all that easy, is it?
No, there's actually a science to it. Whether you think
Not just that somebody sat around and said, let's do this today.
It's not a monkey in a truck. These are real people that know what they're doing.
A monkey in a truck.
And they're trained to do this. So,
believe it or not,
believe it or not, they are trained to do this, and the folks that make the decisions get a lot of data, a lot of information, and you're talking decades of experience for our supervisors that make these decisions about, is this a good idea? Should we go ahead and spread salt brine now?
Yeah.
All these things. And when should we get the trucks out on the road and everything else?
All right. Now that we got that all out of the way, that we know you're the guy to yell at.
Right.
Okay. You guys have some work that you're going to start here fairly soon.
Right.
Just north of Sublette.
Right.
At the US 83 160. K144 intersection about
Right.
6 miles north of Sublette.
We have a big project coming. It will put in an interchange at that junction of 160, 144, and 83. We'll put in an interchange there. The highway will slide to the east.
Okay, yeah, Brian's got a graphic up there
Okay,
now.
so you can see that where the highway, you can see the actual US 83 today and the feedlot there to the west of the highway. And the highway is going to slide to the east. 160, 144 will go a little south of where it is now in order to build that interchange. That'll be 160, 144 will go over 83.
Okay.
It'll be basically a diamond interchange there. And that'll slide. And then that highway, the project starts probably about 1.5 miles south of the junctions where they actually start. And
Okay.
it curves east onto the where that interchange is going to be built. And then it'll continue along that path and then eventually curve back to the existing highway about 4 or 5 miles north of the intersection.
Okay,
where it is
so
now. So it's
now-
about a 6-mile project altogether.
Okay, so, and this project has been funded, correct?
It's funded. We have a contractor. It's a company. It's a venture corporation out of Great Bend, and they have the contract on this project. It's about $22 million, partly because of that interchange. Bridges are expensive, and so, and it will also add a set of passing lanes. And the other thing we're doing with these projects from Sublette to north to Scott City, we did a big study about 10 years ago is when we started it. We concluded it around 2010, and that study outlined areas we could put in passing lanes, gave some general concepts of what you might do, building an interchange at this junction, for example. And it's been broken down into segments anywhere from 5 to 8 mile segments. And as we get funding, we're designing these segments. And as we get funding, we'll build these segments. But one of the things we're doing with them, in addition to adding, there's probably, the concept is, say, 4 sets of passing lanes between Sublette and Garden City and another 4 sets between Garden City and Scott City. But we're buying, as we build these projects, we're going to buy enough right-of-way that someday you can make it a 4-lane road.
Someday.
We're going to make someday. Whenever someday comes.
In southwest Kansas, someday is a big word.
Yes, it is. But obviously these projects are pretty expensive to build.
Sure.
So, but we're buying the right-of-way now so that we already own it. And if that money becomes available or the need becomes greater because of traffic volumes, then we would be ready to go ahead and build 4-lane sections.
Okay. So,
but it will take a while to get there.
But when you talk about, okay, now this one has been funded,
Right.
ready to go,
Right.
and it could start anytime, right?
We expect April or May, the contractor will start on this project, that they will start working. And for most people, the impact will be very limited because they're going to be moving dirt off to the east of where the existing highway is. So you'll see them working, but the impact to traffic will be minimal until they get ready to make connections into. And this is a project that has a completion date in December of 2017. So basically a little over 1.5 years the contractor has from now to go ahead and build this project.
And if he gets it done before that, yippee.
Good for him.
Yeah.
And good for the rest of us because we get to drive on it.
Don't forget, though, on icy days, you need to salt sand that overpass.
Yeah, we will. We will take care of it.
You make sure that monkeys in them trucks get that
There are no
sand
monkeys in trucks. And they're not just warm bodies either. Those
that's true.
Those
Those
are
guys-
folks that sacrifice their time to be out there. I mean, the rest of us are hunkered down in our homes during the blizzard.
they're out there
Guess who's
driving
out on
around
the
in
road?
it.
Guess who's out on the road when we're all trying to stay safe and warm somewhere?
Yeah, and
So-
then there's knuckleheads out there driving around.
And there are people that get
in
out
their
there
way.
and criticize the job they do.
Yeah, and then they call you.
And then they call me.
So, okay. All right. Are we about at time, Brian? I forgot to. Okay. We're done.
Really?
Yes.
There's more work.
I know. You have to come back.
Okay.
You have to come back. I'll bet we can do a 30 minutes worth of this stuff.
Real quickly, we do have some preservation projects that will start this year that will include on US 83 that are mill and overlay types of projects. So those will be out there as well from the 160 junction in Seward County all the way up to the 160 junction in Haskell County. We'll be doing some work and some work north of that to take care of some rough spots near the Finney County line.
Okay. So
all that's coming this summer.
You got a lot going on.
And it will be very busy out there.
All right, Kirk, you got to come back and see us.
All right.
This is fun. All right. Thanks, Kirk. And stick around to be back with more after this.
You want to feel connected, at one with your world. Informed, included, and inspired. So no matter where you are, when important things happen, we're here. at all hours, in the moment, on every screen in your life. Your local TV and radio broadcasters. We investigate and inform, give back to the community, build the local economy, even save lives. America's #1 source for news, weather, and information. And unlike any other news source, we're here, 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 and here. We are broadcasters, always here for you, wherever here may be. Text TV to 52886. Tell Washington local stations matter.
Lead paint poisoning affects 1 million children today. If you're pregnant or have young children and your home was built before 1978, you could be at risk. Learn how to protect your family. To find your home's danger zones, the health effects, or just to find help, log on to leadfreekids.org.
Something I feel when I'm right here. Something that tells me that I'm This is the place. Everybody here knows it. This is the place. Oh, it's home to me and you. Yeah, this is the place.
Well, a wild weekend in the NCAA tournament ended Sunday night in appropriate fashion, with Oregon, the top seed in the West region, being pushed by the end by the St. Joseph's, but managing to survive 69-64. All 4 #1 seeds made it through the first 2 rounds and will play in the Sweet 16 beginning Thursday. KU will play in Louisville. They'll play Maryland, coached by Mark Turgeon, former Wichita State coach, played at KU, lived in Lawrence, et cetera, from Lawrence. Michigan State and Xavier were upset, and the Musketeers falling Sunday on a buzzer beater by Wisconsin. And Michigan State, they just got pummeled. They did not look good at all. So those 2 #2 seeds gone. Let's take a last look at our weather before we get out of here today. 62 degrees right now. Relative humidity is going down, is 29%. Winds are out of the south-southwest at 7. Barometric pressure is still falling. Looking at the 7-day, there is a 20% chance of precipitation. That's going to be on Wednesday night. Other than that, lows are going to be pretty much the highs pretty much in the 50s and 60s. Go out and make it a great Monday, everybody. See you back here tomorrow.
Keep up to date with the latest information from TV23 on our Facebook page, KDGL TV.
Something I feel when I'm right here. Something that tells me that I'm People are people around here. That's how it is. It's so clear. Letting it show. I've been around the world, only to find what I already know. This is the place. Everybody here knows it. This is the place. Oh, it's home to me and you. Yeah. This is the place.
Hi, Chris Jewell, host of High Plains Today, a 30-minute news and information program that airs weekdays at noon right here on TV23. We talk about news, we talk about sports, we talk about weather, we're even going to talk entertainment. We'll have live guests right here on set with me. So, every day at noon, tune in, High Plains Today. We'll see you then.
Weekdays here on TV23.
Lead paint poisoning affects 1 million children today. If you're pregnant or have young children and your home was built before 1978, you could be at risk. Learn how to protect your family. To find your home's danger zones, the health effects, or just to find help, log on to leadfreekids.org.